Hey folks, welcome back. Tucked in a dungeon, and Sunday afternoon, and just kind of looking at what we've got for the next projects, and I think we're going to give my belt sander a little bit of love. This is an import model. I bought it, I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe more. I don't know. It's got a 3-phase motor on it, got a VFD, but it has some issues, and I've got it set up on a dining table, not a dining table, like a cafe table base, which is plenty sturdy enough. But when I did this, and I've always had a problem with the belt tracking, right? And you adjust your belt tracking with this guy, and it was never right. And as I'm looking at this, I can see why. So I've got, the motors there, and as I'm looking straight across this, we weren't tracking square on that motor. And so we're going to fix that. As I went to take the belt off this morning, it has this little gas strut that's non-operable now. So going to fix that. It does not have a table. When I bought it, it didn't have a table that went with it. So we're going to make a table for it. I would like to set up a small wheel for it. I don't have a small wheel though. But I do also have some different diameter wheels that I've picked up in my travels. And so going to make some adapters to fit these on here, just so that I've got some different options for this. As well as that, come on around here. So I mounted my VFD this way so that I didn't have problems with dust and swarf and stuff getting in the VFD, and it's worked very well with that. But as you can see over the years, it's a little wonky now. I used to store belts on the back of this. I've got a couple of pegs back there so I could hang a belt or two back there. I think I'm just going to do away with that whole thing, and I think what I'll do is I'm going to wind up bringing an arm up and over and putting the VFD up here. And I don't think I'll have any real problems with dust and stuff. So there's where we're at. I'm probably going to spend a little time this morning looking at some of the other 2x72 belt sanders out there, and is there anything else that I want to add to this? While I'm in the making mood, it's best just to do a lot. So anyhow, be back in a little bit. Thanks for watching. All right, folks. So basically spent a few minutes on the internet trying to figure out, what kind of attachments I wanted to make. Obviously, I wanted to make a table for it. Looking at a small wheel attachment, that shouldn't be any big deal to make. I ordered some bearings for that. They should be here tomorrow. Not going to hold my breath on that, but they should be here tomorrow. I need to go ahead and order. And I think I've got some compression springs somewhere that I could use here instead. It's probably what I'm going to do, because it's, oops. Oh! This gas cylinder, obviously is not such a great idea. I'll probably just put a compression spring there. Easy peasy. I think I've got some sitting around somewhere. Surprisingly, these are not metric. And, so yeah, I'll figure out what I'm going to do with that here next, and I'm going to go ahead and take this all apart and see what I have available back in a flash. Alright folks, so looking around, and I actually have a compression spring that should work, and I think we'll just use that. And basically what I'm doing, can you see that? It's just setting it right over the top of the shaft on that, and it should jerk just fine without having to do anything extravagant. So simple is better in most cases. Maybe not always, but simple is better. It's going to work just fine. Alright, so you just put this on time lapse. Alright, so we got that taken care of, and yeah, it's it gives probably 1.5 inches of compression. So that should be enough to provide tension to the belt. I had some of this 80/20, I think it's 1.5 inches, and I don't even remember where this came from. I wound up salvaging it off of something, and so that'll work just fine for a bar, and you know, it'll tighten up just fine with the. Maybe it won't. No, I'll have to make some longer. I'll have to make some longer stops, but that's no big deal. Anyhow, I like using the stuff that I have. These 80/20 structural things will be just fine. So next thing, I'm going to go ahead and dismount this from. Actually, I'm probably going to go ahead and take the phase converter off and get it flipped around, and figure out what I'm going to do as far as total mounting for this. Because like I said, I'm not happy with what's going on right now. At a bare minimum, I have to shift the motor back a little bit so that it's in line with our other pulleys, which it is not right now. And also, it looks like the motor is slightly canted. You know, that will affect it as well. So I want to get everything so that it's nice and square. And so yeah, back in a bit. Alright folks, welcome back. What I've done here is I had this sheet of plate, 1/4 inch plate, I think, that I had purchased for another project, and I actually found another piece that would work for that project, and so this is large enough to do what I want to do here. So this was cut fairly square. Now, it's not perfectly square, but it's pretty darn close. Close enough to go. So what I've done is I've set this up, I've leveled this, I've marked it. Then I went back and using a square, I set up so that the mounts on this are perpendicular at 90 degrees. And I marked both sides of those. And then you saw me use this as a straight edge, right? To bring the edge of the motor right in line. And yeah, there we go. So what that does is it brings everything pretty much into the same thing. You know, there may be some variability there, but it shouldn't be much. And what I'm going to do then is I'll go ahead and mark all these using transfer punches for these. And I'm thinking that I might just drill and tap those. I'm not sure. Anyhow, I'll mark them, and then I'll figure out whether I'm going to drill and tap them. I mean, I could actually just put studs in there, which would not be a bad way to go. That way, if I wanted to take it off, I just unscrew it, pull it off, and then when I'm done doing whatever it is, cleaning or whatever, I can throw it right back on. I may do that. I'm not sure. For the motor itself, you know, the base of it's got slots so that you can adjust the distance out a little bit. What I do like about this system is I can use 2x72, and I can use quite a bit smaller depending upon where I adjust. You know, this bar allows you to adjust out quite a bit and adjust in quite a bit. So there's a lot of adjustability in this, and you know, even though it's an import, I've been pretty happy with this overall. I just, you know, I don't have all the little bells and whistles that go with it. And I'm just, you know, giving this an eyeball, and it's looking like I'm pretty well even on my pulleys. But I do have some adjustment here. This has got a set screw in here on top of the keyway, so I can loosen that up and shift this in or out a little bit to take up some adjustment. Likewise, you know, with the slots in the motor mount, I could, if I needed to, torque it, twist it one way or the other just a little bit, but I don't think I will. And then back here on the back, you saw me mark the piece all the way across. I'm going to go cut that off, and that's going to wind up being the plate for my table. So this will work, and we'll get back to it. All right, folks, so I'm going to transfer the mounting holes on this using a transfer punch. And I've talked about these in other videos. If you don't have a set, go get you a set. They're not very expensive. Harbor Freight carries them. And you know, they come in imperial as well as metric. Though all I have are imperials. And basically, you can see that or not. So you pick the diameter that's the best fit for your hole that will actually fit in it, and then, you know, it's got the little centered point in it, and stick that in there. Give it a light wrap. So that'll mark your holes there. I think I am going to go ahead and drill that and tap it and put studs up through there. I mean, why not? I'll just basically run a bolt up through there, and you know, the head can be on the bottom of it. It's not going to interfere with anything. So, and if it does, I'll just grind it off and then put a little weld bead around it. That'll lock it in place. Back in a bit. All right, folks. I thought that I could cut this off in my Evolution chop saw, but it's a little too wide. So we got to do this the old-fashioned way. You know, I have a plasma art table. I have 2 plasma cutters. It's on the list. Maybe this next week I'll get get my compressor plumbed up, because this is not a fun way to cut, but it is what it is. Yeah, here we go. that'll work. It's on the back edge. Never see it. But all right, so you notice that I've got the 2 bridge clamps holding it down nice and tight. You know, trying to do stuff like that with it just hanging loose is a recipe for disaster. All right, back on this side, other side. All right, I'm going to use 3/8 inch hardware in nice tight fit. What I'm finding though is that there's a little bit of paint buildup inside the holes, so I'm just cleaning those out just a little bit. Really got to give us a nice snug fit. Hey, welcome back, folks. I'm going to go ahead and cut this in a drill press. Just makes your holes a little more vertically oriented. You have a tendency when you're drilling, you know, to come off of perpendicular. So do it in a drill press. I've got a 1/4 inch spotting drill in there, and I'm going to go ahead and hit all these holes. And I'm going to throw the thing back up there. Make sure, give it a sanity check. Make sure that we're looking good. And then I'll come back through and drill them all with a 3/8 inch, or actually with a 5/16, which is a tap drill size for a 3/8/16. Set it up here and maneuver it in a position, and yeah, they all look good. You know, if there's a little bit of misalignment, I can drill out one of the holes just a little bit, but I think we're going to be real good right there. All right, back to the drill press. All right, here we are. All right, folks, here we go. I had to, I've opened this hole up a little bit and backed the screw out. I think I got just a little bit. Hinky on that one, but 3 out of 4 I'll take. I did drill this hole out just a little bit oversized, but yeah, that works. Back in a bit. All right, folks, so good thing I checked before I went ahead and did those on 3/8. I'm going to have to go to a 5/16 bolt on that. And what I did is, number one, I wanted to see that my distance between was the same on each one, and they were within 5 thousandths. And so, yeah, 3 inches. Yeah, 3 inches. That one. Yeah, 3 inches, 5 thousandths. Close enough. All right. So then, I came over here and look at, does that get me center line, or at least pretty darn close? And yeah. And the best thing I can say is doing stuff like this is just give it the sanity check. If it was 2 and 601 thousandths, well, that's not normal. But 3-inch, you know, 3-inch bolt panel, bolt pattern. Good Lord. That gives the sanding check. And then I should check. So we got, let me check this way. Alright, and so I got about 4 inches and 830 thousandths. And that one is a little bit more. That one's about 4 inches, 850 thousandths. So, yeah, got just a little bit of variability on this way. And then, yeah, come back over here, and that puts me, you know, right more or less in the center of my adjustment. So I'm happy with that. All right, so I'll go drill these for the tap size for 5/16 18. I don't know what it is right off the top of my head, but we'll go drill it. Back in a minute. All right, folks, we're back at it again, and so I've got an F drill in here, which is the tap drill size for 5/16 18. You know, as far as drills on the Imperial side, you know, we have our standard fractionals, we have letter drills, and then we have number drills from you know, 80 on down. And so it does make a difference. You know, I probably could have drilled this with a 1/4 inch and been okay. Would have been a little bit more to tap, but it'd be fine. But I do have an F drill, and so we're gonna use it. Alright, just got a little countersink. Clean the holes up a little bit. A lot of times you get a burr on the back side, as well as the front side. So hit that with both sides. Clean it all up nicely. A big burr on the back side. Tapping. Hey folks, all right, so you saw before that, you know, these wires were just hanging out in space. I'm not really a fan of that. And so I've got a 1/2 inch conduit terminal in there, and then we're going to run 1/2 inch conduit underneath the plate and come out, and I think I'm probably going to have a an arm that comes up and mounts our phase converter, So in order to do that, I just marked the general location. It's not 100% accurate, it's close enough. And if you've never seen one of these, it's a mag drill, and I bought this several years ago and have never used it. I've got quite a few annular cutters for it, and an annular cutter just cuts, it cuts around the periphery, right? And so it's going to leave a a center disc there as well. So a lot less cutting than if I were drilling this with, and that's a 1-inch annular cutter. And so yeah, like I said, I've never actually used this one, but we're going to get it fired up here in a minute, just as soon as I can find my oil bottle. Back in a second. Okay, so right now I've got the magnet turned on. You turn the magnet on and it'll suck down tight, and then that turns on our spindle, and then it's just like a little mini drill press, only it's locked in place. It does have a provision here for oiling and cooling, but I'm not really sure how to fill this silly thing. Just messing around with it trying to get the lid off of it, and it wouldn't want to come, so we'll just do it manually. Again, I've never used this thing, and but I bought it several years ago because I thought, man, sooner or later I'll have a project where I need that, and here we are. All right, here we go. I'm not sure if I have a variable speed on this or not. But that seems like it's awful fast. But I'm not seeing one, so I guess not. All right. Easy does it then. There's got to be a high and a low to this. Let me check. Back in a sec. Bring it in here real close. Okay, on? Alright, so you can see there's that little center disc there. You know, we're almost through. As far as I can tell, it's just a single speed. But man, that's running awful fast. I don't know. Like I said, it's the first time I've ever used it. It's going to get the job done. That's all that really matters. And there we are. And then there's our little plug, which I don't want to pick up. This is going to be hot. Yeah, man, that was freaking handy. It's nice when you have a tool that you need when you need it. And yeah, I've had this thing for, I don't know, probably close to 10 years. First time I've needed it. Worked perfectly. All right, back in a flash. All right, that's what that annular cutter looks like. And you know, man, that was fast and pretty efficient. And then, you know, you look at your hole, nice clean edges. You know, it would have taken me a while to drill that with a 1-inch drill bit. I mean, I could do it, but holy cow, there would have been a lot of effort, and that was zero effort. All right, back in a flash. All right, so what we've got is we've got a piece of 1/2 inch flexible conduit coming through here, and I'm going to come up again through this, and basically what I want to do, and that might have been a little bit too much of an angle, whatever, we'll figure it out, but I want another piece to come out and terminate about here, and then I can put the it's not a phase converter. Man, I hate when my brain draws blank. My brains are also blank. All right. Yeah, we'll put our little box over here, and so ideally, we'd like this to be over here somewhere. And I'll probably change. I don't know. I may not change from the wooden, but I figure I'd like to have all the wiring other than that enclosed, and so I'll put it up through that. So that's what we're working towards, and I haven't drawn any of this stuff up. I'm just kind of doing it by feel. Back in a few. Hey folks, welcome back. All right, so off camera, I cut a couple pieces of this 2-inch tubing. It's heavy wall tubing. I hate to use heavy wall tubing for something like this, but it's what I had handy. And I just cut an arbitrary angle on there. I don't even know what it is. I just set something on the saw that looked good, cut it, and then I've got another piece, and I think what I'm going to do up here is I'll make an adapter plate that will just sit on here and hold the variable frequency drive. That's the word I was looking for earlier, VFD, variable frequency drive. Wow. Sorry, you get old, your mind starts going. Especially when your woman's always stressing you out. She's giving me funny looks from behind the camera. She wonders why I'm stressed all the time. So anyhow, what I've done is I've cleaned all this up, and I'm a lot happier with this. And so we got this, I'll go up in there, and then this doodad, do-wheelie. And I didn't actually check to make sure that I had enough length. I should have. I didn't actually measure it. It looked good. There we go. One of them stuck in there. Which one's stuck? There we go. All right. And so I use the mag drill to put another hole in this corner, and then please don't pay any attention to my welder. I've never claimed to be a good welder. There was a time when I was okay, but that's been many years ago. So what that does now is cleans all this up when bringing it in there. So now instead of wires just dangling, we've got everything's inside a conduit. I like that. It's tucked back up in here. A conduit runs to about here. And then whenever I put this on, I'll probably run conduit back just so that this edge doesn't chafe the wires. But yeah, it's coming right along. It's just set on there right now. I just got it C-clamped on there. And honestly, I'm kind of liking it. I've got one little clearance issue with this bolt right here. So I probably marked that, and I'll just cut a flap out of the tabletop so that'll sit in there flush. But I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. And so let me stick this on here. Yeah. So that's going to get me, yeah, I like it. And like I said, I'm either going to weld a plate on here, or I'll just weld a couple of nuts on here so that I can I can attach a plate to it. Haven't really decided which yet, but that's probably going to be for another video. I think we'll call that good for today. So as always, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Your comments help, and love to hear from you. If you have an idea for an attachment that I haven't talked about, let's hear about it. Thanks for watching. Talk to you out.